All right. And we are live, hopefully. Are we live, Jessica?
We are live. We got several people in the chat already.
Okay, several people in the chat. So hopefully you guys are getting this feed loud and clear. Let me know if you are. And welcome back to the workshop. Everybody give us just a thumbs up emoji if you got a second, if you're getting the feed live and clear, audio clear, all that good stuff.
We got a hey Roy from Graham Pepper.
Hey Graham.
Royal Crow Forge says hey.
Hi Royal Crow Forge. Good to have you in the shop.
Marco Moldolvinik says hi.
Moldolvinik?
No, this is a different one.
Moldolvinik is what it is? Martin or Marco?
Marco, yeah.
Hey Marco, good to have you in the shop.
Mike G.
Oh, Mike G, good to have you. So tonight I'm going to go ahead and tell what we're doing this evening for all of those that are watching the replay of this video. What we're doing this evening is we're going to be forging the barbell to our little vise project. So what is the barbell? The barbell is the part that actually goes through the screw of the vise. And as you can tell, I've got some fairly small components here. This is what's going to comprise our barbell. We're working on a little hand filer's vise, and it was bad of me because I do not have it here close by. I'll have to walk off camera here in a second to go get it to show you what I'm talking about. But we are going to be doing this very small forge welding, and I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how you can make really tiny forge welds like this, and hopefully that'll help you out. So forge welding is all about speed and efficiency and having your process organized before you start. So make sure all your tools are where they need to be. Make sure if you have any specialty tools that are going to be used during the forge weld that they are where they need to be. Make sure that your layout's proper and your scarves and things of that nature. Also remember to find your flux, eyeglasses, and anything to protect you from welding spatter that you may or may not want to wear. So if you're shirtless at that point in time, you may want to think about throwing a shirt on and your skivvies. So this way you can get back to forging safely. So, all right, so is the audio good and video's good? Hopefully everybody's enjoying it.
Yep, we got some Brad Hershey, sounds good. Marco says clear.
Awesome, awesome.
Let's see, S&S Smithing says the audio is kind of going in and out.
Okay, it's going in and out.
So you'll have to tell us if it continues to do that. So, but everybody else said it sounded good. Okay, everybody else says it's sounding good so far. Okay, good. So let us know if you guys lose a feed or anything like that. We're trying out some new live streaming equipment. And I don't know if that's abundantly apparent just yet with the picture quality. You know, I hope it is, and that this will be a lot better than what we were using before, which was just my cell phone. So hopefully this will be a good thing. I also invested in some lighting in the shop, a lot better lighting. Dropped 200 bones there just to invest in better lighting for the camera equipment. So hopefully this will help the live streams be a little more pleasant to watch on Friday nights at 7. So. What do we got? All right, we say, Kyle Kemp says, hey man, great videos. You've been a huge inspiration.
Kyle Clamp? Camp? Thank you.
Gameforge Gaming, what flux do you use?
I'm just using a standard 20 mule team borax. I'm not going to be able to talk this evening, ladies and gents. So I don't keep it stored in anything in particular. This has probably got all sorts of grinding dust and filings and you name it in it. It can just be clean 20 mule team borax, or it can be dirt practically. It's just dirty. So that's what I'll be using this evening. It's what I've started forge welding with, and it always works for me. So that's what I'll be using this evening. So I'm gonna step off camera for a second and go get that vise.
Let's see. Corey Shire says he's here with his bucket of popcorn.
Awesome, Corey. Thank you for being here with your bucket of popcorn.
Let's see. Jamie Clark, glad to have you here.
Yep.
Tom Sarso.
All right. So the components we forged on last week's live stream, we did the decorative element on the screw portion of the vise. We've done this, we've gotten all this stuff prepped and ready to go. So this way, we can have the screw portion go through there like so, of the vise. We got the nut, or the screw box as it's called on vices, forged. And all that still has to be worked on just a little bit to make it a complete unit. So I still got some file work to do, a lot of file work and cleanup work to take and do, and all the drilling and tapping and whatnot of these things. So we got that done, and what we're working on this evening is the barbell, or the portion that will get inserted through the screw, so this way we can twist the vise, so we can tighten the jaws. So that's what we're working with tonight. I'll go ahead and outline what we're using for material sizes. The material size, the rod that we're going to be using as the barbell shank itself that goes through the screw is 6 mil or 1/4 inch in diameter. So 6 mil or 1/4 inch in diameter. And then the part that is going to be our collar was a piece of 1/2 inch round with a 1/4 inch hole drilled in the center of it. So that is a 1/2 inch round for 12.5 millimeter. Something like that, or roughly thereabouts. These aren't really accurate or super important. The only thing is that you want there to be enough material thickness. In this case, there's an 1/8 inch thickness all the way around the center of my rod here, the 1/4 inch rod. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to weld this on just like a collar. Now, unlike we did with this collar that we welded onto the 3/8 rod, we're not going to have to do any upsetting or anything like that in order pre-upset prior to this, so we do not have to worry about that. But unlike this here, there's not enough mass here to be able to wrap a little tiny collar around there and get that forge welded on with a wrap method like we used in this case. So what we will have to do is I left it whole. So I took a 1/2 inch piece of rod, I cut it 1/2 inch long or 12.5 mil long, and then I drilled a 1/4 inch hole through it in order to be able to insert this, and this allows me to have something that looks a little bit more like that. I don't know if they can see that or if you're zoomed up in on me.
I will zoom in.
Maybe you can zoom up in on me here. Zoom right here. You see that?
Oh, wrong direction. There we go. Yep.
There you go.
Good.
So this is about how we're going to leave this out here. Are they actually up on this part here?
Yes.
Okay. So this is how we're going to leave this on here. We're going to leave about a 1/4 inch of material or 6 mil material sticking out the end here. What we're going to do with that is when we take a welding heat, we're going to weld this just to get it stuck lightly, and then we're going to upset weld this, just like this. So we're going to brad that over just like we did in this collar weld. What that'll do for us is when we weld in this direction, it'll squirt out any flux that was in the joint and take along any debris. And then when we weld in this direction, it'll thicken this piece up. And then we're going to forge this into, I'm not sure what you call them, but it's not a, we'll either forge this to a complete round, or if I decide I like it, I'm going to leave it as, I don't know what they call those, a hexagon or...
Semicircle or?
No, it's the one that's got all the facets on it. Polyhedron or something like that. I don't know what it is.
Depends how many sides.
Essentially, it's
either a hexagon or an octagon. If it has.
It's got sides like that, facets.
Yeah, hexagon.
It's gonna have facets like that. that makes sense. So we'll try something like that. Any questions before I get started here?
Sure, let me read off a few. It seems like everybody's saying that the video is really good. The sound is slightly lagging and it sounds a little staticky.
Okay.
We'll have to kind of just check that out on after the video is rendered, because from this end I can't tell anything currently.
Yeah, we can't check the staticky here on this end right now, so sorry about that, ladies and gents.
Rigid Ironworks says, working on a touch mark while watching.
Awesome, Rigid Ironworks.
Mark S says, fancy camera equipment, I can see clearly now.
Good.
Let's see, Coffee Forge says, got my new 1-inch burners in the mail today from Sam Fowler. Can't wait to get them hooked up.
There you go.
Tina Knoll says, just wanted to say hi. I'm on vacation, so I finally get to join again. Normally not off work for another 2 hours at least, but I'm glad I made it finally.
Yeah, awesome. Glad to have you here. All right, let's just set this off the side.
Okay.
So the first thing I need to do, and we can chat while this heats up, one of the tricks to take in doing this, are they still zoomed in on my face?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, okay, you got to do a little better job on the camera there, girl.
All right.
If you can, please.
Okay.
Well, good?
Yes.
All right. So one of the tricks here, down here.
A piece of railroad anvil there.
So I've got just a small little section of track anvil, or just railroad track. It's not really an anvil. This could be any lunk of metal. It doesn't have to be this. I just happen to have this. It was given to me, so I use it for this purpose. It doesn't have to be this. Like I said, you could get away with just a large chunk of steel just as easy. The only thing that we are doing with this, and anything that's special about this, is we're going to take and stick this in the fire. We're going to heat up just this top plate here and get it warmed up. And then we're also going to allow this to sit on the forge itself. We're going to make sure that this sits on the forge itself, so we can come right out of the fire straight to an anvil within under a second or two. That way we can make our weld. If you have to turn from the fire to the anvil, so from the fire to the anvil, even that 90-degree turn when you're welding something this small will cool the piece off too much and it won't stick and won't weld. You've got to get your anvil as close as humanly possible to the forge. So, all right, we're going to go over the fire.
All right, to the fire. Let's see, Chief Lewis had said, man, I can really see how scary you look, Roy, LOL. I left them zoomed up a little too long.
That good, huh?
Let's see, bent tubes. It looks like an old kung fu movie. Come on, do a high kick.
No high kicks. No dancing.
Tima Knoll says, great new camera quality.
Awesome. Glad you're liking it. So, yeah, we've wanted to upgrade the live streams ever since we've been doing them to get rid of that really weird purple glare and things like that you get, and it looking like the fiery face of God when a piece of metal comes out. So we hope to take and get this a lot better off, where you guys can definitely see the crisp image quality of the stuff being forged. Because there's no point in instructing and teaching if you guys can't tell what I'm talking about. So, guys and gals, sorry.
We have a comment from Brad Hershey. He says, I was hoping you could speak on how to make sure you walk the fine line between forge heat and burn heat.
Okay. So, burning heat, there is no such thing as a burning heat. And I'll probably take a little bit of ridicule for this, but what it is that burns the steel is the oxygen. So, you can bring the temperature up as high as you like, and it'll smelt stuff. So you can smelt iron as long as it's in a no oxygen or very low oxygen environment. As soon as you expose that to the air, you get the firecrackers, you see all the sparks. It's that top layer burning. It's over oxidizing. I believe Daniel Moss said that it's rusting or super rusting or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not. All I know is it's oxidization in one form or another, and it's going overkill on the oxidization. So when it comes to actually heating the piece up, the fine line in of itself is your air control. So bring the fire up to a really good hot temperature. So bright yellow, like a bright yellow, like a lemon yellow, to almost white in temperature color. Get your piece in there and then reduce the airflow. If you can reduce the airflow, then it won't burn up and the piece will come up to heat and soak in that heat, and then you're at a welding heat. And that's how you walk that fine line. Too many people antiquate more air means more heat means better chance of welding. And in fact, it's the opposite. Once you get the firebox and fire pot up to temperature, back off the oxygen. That's why they call it welding in a reducing environment or a reducing flame. Same thing if you're in a gas forge. Back off the oxygen once you get the forge up to temp. Back off the oxygen and let some more of those blue kind of flames lap out the front. And that way you know that you're going in an oxygen deprived environment when you're making your forge welds. It will help you greatly.
Let's see, Jackson Graham, he's stopping in. He says, it's been so long since I've actually made it to one of these. Glad to be back.
Hey Jackson Graham, good to have you in the house. So, alright, so we're not heating this up too much. This is probably a few hundred degrees. You don't have to zoom in.
Okay.
It's fine. This is probably just a few hundred degrees. Maybe 500 or 600 degrees. It doesn't have to be really super, super hot. It just needs to be warm enough that it doesn't instantly cool your piece. Okay? So I've burrowed out a little place here in my forge. So this way we can hopefully get this down in there and I can use it to hammer upon. Give me a second. Grab me a pair of these. Alright, questions, huh?
Yes, Tina Knoll. Question, the forge burning so bright, would you recommend sunglasses or does it not get hot enough?
Yes, the forge, there's a lot of people use diidium or dinitium or something like that. Glasses, it's the same type of glasses. I call them rose-colored glasses because that's usually their tint. It's the same thing that glass blowers wear to look into the flames. The flames, not necessarily it's the brightness that gets you, it's the UV that it comes off of the fire pot, because it does put out ultraviolet radiation and it can, after a period of time, hurt your eyes. It is always best to check your piece and then look away somewhere else out in the shop. That is a neutral thing. It's not just going to go from good to burnt, especially if we're in a reducing fire. So look at the piece, see if it's to temp. If it's not, look away from it. And that's the best way. That really is the best way to take and do that. Some guys, they prefer wearing shades. That's perfectly okay. Like a number 5 shade or less would be good, or just some sunglasses. That should be enough to protect you from most of that UV. Although you'll have to get used to judging the color temperature, welding temperature in dark sunglasses, because it does change the color temperature of that.
Makes sense.
All right.
Let's see. Are you about to explain something?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to get this hot now. We've got the block good and hot. Now I'm just going to set this in here and start getting it warmed up.
Average American says, brand new to blacksmithing, trying to learn all I can. Very cool to see the work in real time. Thanks.
Awesome. Average American, thank you for not being so average and being here on your Friday evening.
That's right.
All right.
Marco says, do you use graphite liquid solution? And have you made your own?
Graphite liquid solution. Wouldn't know anything about it. If it's for forge welding, graphite doesn't usually burn or anything like that, so I'm not sure how good it would be useful in the forge. Never heard of it.
Let's see here. Nick Bernholt had said, clear safety glasses block infrared heat radiation, but not any other kinds like UV.
Okay, infrared heat radiation, but nothing like UV.
Yeah, but you can protect your eyes from the heat.
Good to know. I'm a big fan of buying name brand products, 3M if you can. Not sponsored by them, but you know, go with a reputable quality manufacturer of safety glasses if you're going to get them. Just, you know, I mean, it's your eyes. Your eyes are worth that extra attention to detail. They just are. So that would be my suggestion on that. For anybody who's looking at eyeglass wear.
Let's see here. Several minutes ago, somebody had asked about the different kinds of fuels, and as been pointed out there in the comments section, yes, we do have a whole playlist of different kinds of fuels, besides coal as well, so you're welcome to check that out.
Yep.
Game Forge Gaming, who says, I'm a 16-year-old bladesmith. Do you have any tips?
Let's see here. Tips. About what? Blacksmithing?
He said he's a bladesmith, but...
Business or bladesmithing? If it's bladesmithing, you come to the wrong channel. I'm not a bladesmith. If you're going to do bladesmithing, learn your basics, learn your fundamentals, get a foundation in the fundamentals. It doesn't matter if you can forge a blade if you don't know how to make a hook, or if you don't know how to bend metal properly, or things that are fundamental elements like drawing out tapers and stuff like that. It will severely limit what you can do in the forge on your blade work if you don't have a good strong foundation in the fundamentals. So just take some courses, watch my videos, watch anybody else's videos out there that have courses on fundamentals, and go from there.
Graham reminds us, sharp and pointy. That's right, Graham.
Yep, sharp and pointy. So real quick before I get started here, hopefully I'm in focus. Looks like I'm focused on all that good stuff. So you guys may have seen this. I forged this little swedge block that goes in the hardy hole in another video, and I used an air fuller to take and do that. Is that okay? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be welding this up in this swedge block. So this way it kind of traps 3 sides. So the hammer side, it'll trap the hammer side and the bottom and one other side, plus one. So it's not just putting flats on it, it's actually trapping it between a trapezoid, like 3 points of contact. And that helps that round collar weld a lot better. So I'm using this versus a swedge block. If you have a swedge block, you can do that. A lot of people don't have swedge blocks. So this is just as easy. If you don't want to forge one of these, they're fairly simple to forge. You can also grind this into just a piece of bar of steel. You can just grind a radius and then file it round. Or half round, if you will, like a swedge. Okay? Back of the anvil, honey? Yes. And be here. Or, well, you can be out. You can zoom out. You don't have to be up close to me anymore.
Okay.
Alright. Alright, so we're good and hot. We're not to welding temp. I've just been letting it come up slow to heat. And now I'm going to put on a little bit of flux. And then we're going to bring it up to a much higher temperature and then go for the weld. So the very first weld is going to be here at the anvil that's sitting in the, or chunk of steel or whatever you got, right on the forge top. That's going to be the very first stick weld. So when I pull it out, I'll pop it out and I'll go pop, 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 and then put it right back in the fire, okay? When I come up to the welding heat. Then the second welding heat, I will come out and I will go to the swedge in the anvil. And I'll hit it in a circular fashion to try to get that good and stuck and welded in. And then once I'm confident that that is welded, I'll go to the edge of the anvil and I'll start upsetting that end and welding that end. And then we'll do the shaping on the ball portion of it.
Should I go ahead and get readjusted to the anvil? Should I go ahead and readjust to the anvil?
Nope, I'm just going to do some fluxing.
Okay.
So you can point it wherever you want if they want to see the fluxing. Might as well. Zoom it down. Jessica's trying to do two things this evening. She's trying to read comments and reposition cameras. So.
Yes, I am. Oh, Big Dog Forge said he's always wearing rose-colored glasses.
That's good, Big Dog Forge. Always gotta look at the glass half full. Friend.
And he also, Champ Ironworks mentioned he also had a video on it, making your own rose-colored glasses.
Oh, he did? Okay, cool. For those of you that don't know Tim at Big Dog Forge, he's got a very nice channel. I can't say enough about his channel. I like to watch his channel a lot. Yeah, he's got a lot of good videos. I did not happen to see, that's poor on my part, I did not happen to see the one about his rose-colored glasses, so I'm going to have to look that one up myself. But yeah, go check out Tim at Big Dog Forge if you get the chance. So hopefully they can see this. Is this in shot?
Yes, it's in shot.
Alright, let's focus on this for a second while I'm teaching this.
Alright.
This is more important, so let's do this portion. Can they see that?
Yep.
Okay, so as you can see, the flux created kind of a candy coating on this. That's more or less superficial. That will drip off in the fire. It'll eventually dry off in the fire as well. It's just a temporal coating. It doesn't actually do anything other than eat the surface scale of the material and help it run off via capillary action out of the joint. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and heat this back up, bring it up to our first welding heat, and be at the anvil block. So this is going to be fairly anticlimactic because it's such a small piece that it'll go from not being at welding heat to being at welding heat. So, alright, you can bring them up so they can see me at the anvil. Big Dog Forge, thank you, sir. Thank you for the $10 super chat there, brother.
He says the coffee is on me tonight.
Woohoo! There you go. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that.
Oh, and Graham also gave us a $10 super chat. Australian dollars, he says.
Graham, thank you for them Australian dollars. Every last one of them there, brother. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh. At this point, I'll go ahead and remind everybody of the super chat, since we have some people that have been so nice to give us a super chat. That super chat function you can thank for the people that have been supporting the channel via super chat is the reason why this stream is so good this evening. So,
yes, it is.
So you can thank them. So make sure you thank Tim at Big Dog Forge, thank Graham Pepper. Who else? There's been a bunch of other people that have donated. They're not coming right off my mind, but I'm going to make a list of whoever did. It's those type donations and stuff that allow this stream to get better and better. And we greatly appreciate them all.
Yes, we do. Do you have time for a quick question?
Yep, quick question.
All right, Gameforge Gaming says, what's your favorite hammer?
My favorite hammer is the one that I made in my class with Tom Latney. It is a 1 3/4 pound hammer. It is my daily driver, as they say these days. It is a wrought iron body with steel faces welded in. And I did this in class with Tom Latney out at Touchstone Center for Crafts. So I don't know if they can see that really good.
Yeah, I see
Everything.
So
there it is. She's an old girl now. She's getting all rusty and nastified, but not really that rusty. It's just more of my abuse of using it every single day. Is abuse. But it's got 1045 steel faces welded in, both on the face and the peen of it. The peen was made with a bird's mouth weld. And yeah, pretty excited about it. This was the first hammer I ever made using forge welding and being multi-bit pieces. So, favorite hammer. Okay, you want to zoom them out there?
Yes, yeah, I zoomed out. I didn't believe I zoomed up. And again, so
okay, good.
Champ Ironworks earlier, he's like, I can count the hairs on your neck. So.
Hey, that's a good stream right there.
Yes, that's a really good one. Shepherd's Forge H, thank you for the $10 super chat also.
Shepherd's Forge, thank you very much, sir. We really greatly appreciate that.
Cleft Dog says, what got you into this type of work?
Mainly it was a hobby. Was the main interest in it at first. Brought on by a historical village called Carriage Hill that I visited when I was a kid. And then revisited once I got married. Then Jessica got me this forge here. And then it's been a lifelong passion for the last 10 years. So I've been doing it as a profession now for 7. So. Alright, we're almost up to the first forge welding heat.
Alrighty.
You don't want to take a ton of forge welding heats to get this work done, because the material is quite small.
Do you want to give me a heads up, or should I go ahead and read?
You better get over here.
Okay.
You want to zoom it over.
Okay.
I'm almost there.
Alright.
So as you can see, there's no sparks coming out of the fire or anything like that. The piece is up to a full weld heat right now. Are you over here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in the shot.
Over here?
Yes.
Okay. Is that in the shot?
Yep, it sure
The piece is up to a full weld heat. There's no oxygen in the fire. It's a reduced oxygen environment. So there's no chance of having that burn up. Now we're going to bring it out. And right back in. That quick. Everybody catch that?
Yep, that was quick.
The lag on the stream was probably lagging quicker than that went back in the fire, so.
Probably.
Alright. So now that we got that first weld in, we'll bring it back up to a welding heat, which it won't take long to do, by the way. Because it's so small. Alright, questions while we're getting there?
Alright, sure. Graham says, my 2 girls are here. My youngest has your brand new hoodie on because she is cold.
Awesome!
Hey, gotta sport the hoodie.
You gotta keep them warm with the merch.
Yeah. Oh, Graham said, sorry, I blinked. Yeah, don't blink.
Yeah, you blink, it'll be over with. Alright, so this is still up to a nice heat. I'm going to come over here to the swedge block now, Jess.
Okay.
That was actually a 3/8 swedge. I guess I should have tested that priorhand. I'm going to have to do an emergency. Uh-oh. It'll fit. Good.
Brent Leg, we appreciate the $10 super chat.
Thank you, Brent Leg. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Alright. And get this right up to heat. It's right on the cusp of being at welding. Give me a second and we'll be right over at the swedge. Now this one, it'll be a little slower heat because I'm going to reflux just to make sure I get any debris out of any gaps that may be in the joint. So. Alright, are we ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Okay, I hope everybody's ready for this. Almost a temp. Okay, I'm going to reflux it. I'll do it over here.
Okay. Peter Tricker asked if you can weld using a gas forge.
Yes, you can. There's plenty of videos, people welding in that. I know Tim at Big Dog Forge welds in a gas forge, or he does a good bit of welding, Damascus and stuff in a gas forge. Alex Steele welds in a gas forge. That's the only forge he uses. John Switzer over at Black Bear Forge. All these guys, by the way, I recommend you highly go over and check out if you haven't seen their work yet and the videos they're doing. They're all awesome channels. If you go over to John Switzer at Black Bear Forge, he welds up axes and adze and all things like that and whatnots. Really an inspiration to us younger guys in the shops. To try, hopefully, I hope to still be smithing when I am John's age. And heck, even when I'm Tim's age, even though he's a young man. A really young man, Tim.
Are you going to be going back to the little...
Yeah, I'll be going right back to the swedge block here in just a second.
Alrighty then.
What else you got?
Yes, somebody, Brett Legg said his shirt was on the way. He ordered one. So anybody who is interested in our merch, I did update all the links down in the description of this video. It'll take you now to our Teespring storefront, which we have a few new items, and I'm still trying to add a few more things. So feel free to check that out if you haven't done so in a while. The shirt Roy's wearing is our logo t-shirt, but we have some other things too. What else did I put down in the links? Oh, our website's down there for anybody who wants to check that out.
We're good to go here. Okay. Okay, that's all welded in there, nice and solid. Now I'll brush it off here. If you notice, nowhere in there did I brush this piece off. And the reason why I did not spend time brushing this is because you don't have the time. You don't have the time to clear it of scale. You have got to get the piece out and get it welded as quickly as possible. So now that's welded on there. So now the real test is if it's really truly welded on there, when we come here to the edge of the anvil and we start peening this over at a near welding heat, if this slides or breaks loose, then it wasn't really welded. You don't have to freak out. I mean, this isn't like neurosurgery where if you slip, a guy doesn't have functions anymore or something like that. It's just metal. If it doesn't work, cut it off, try again. And as you can see, I prepared for failure. I have a long bar to keep it on there. So one of the other ways, a big tip off of knowing that you've got a piece welded is even if say this collar was high carbon steel, this was mild steel or something of that nature, this piece here should cool at exactly the same rate as this piece here. If it is truly welded, this piece here will cool at exactly the same rate as this piece here. If it is not, this piece will be dark and that piece will be hot. Or that piece will be hot, or this piece will be hot and that piece will be dark. You'll be able to see a clear contrast in the two. So, anybody got any questions on that? Besides laughing at my pointer finger, everybody laughs at the pointer finger.
Somebody's gonna say something.
You guys watch it.
Forging a hand, that's where you find that video.
Yeah.
So, no questions about that yet.
Okay.
Nick Bernhoff says, K.O. wool versus fire brick, what do you think?
If it's for a gas forge, I like K-wool. Now, I like that because it's easy to be lined very quickly. And then you can use refractory cement and things like that to coat the K-wool. And it makes a very quick forge body. Fire bricks, they're nice. People's biggest gripe with fire bricks are that they crack, but they're going to. Fire bricks, they heat up. It's an immovable object. It expands and contracts. It expands and it contracts, and it doesn't like that. So Fire bricks, things of that nature, they're prone to cracking and things like that. It's just something that you live with if you're doing a fire brick forge of some sort. They crack, it's not a big deal, it's not the end of the world. I save all the little cracked pieces out of stuff, because you never know when you need to stuff an opening or brick in, something like that. So I save all the pieces that break off of fire bricks and whatnots. So I personally like K-wool a little better than fire bricks, but fire bricks have their purpose. Watch it.
Alright. Corey Shire. Oh no, Roy's giving the pointer finger again.
Oh, and I don't know if I've said this, I don't know if I've expressed it enough because I've been focused on the forge weld, but to everyone who just donated in the super chat, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me and Jess. It really does. And you know, we hope to take that money and, like I said, continue to improve the stream and the videos that everybody watches on a daily basis. So everybody in the chat right now, give those guys a big hand of applause, you know, because they really deserve it, and you know, thank them for that. Jessica and I really do appreciate it. I don't like to be the guy like, oh, nice, thanks, you know, and be dismissive. So hopefully that's clear.
Champ Ironworks says, every time you see the finger, take a sip of coffee, tea, and lemonade, family-friendly stream and all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever's in your cup, we won't judge you.
Right.
But it is a friendly stream.
Yes.
Family friendly. Let's just remember that.
Yes.
We won't judge, but...
So we have, let's see, we're at 42 minutes, and we have 74 watching currently.
Thank you all for being here. How many thumbs up?
I don't know if I can see thumbs up.
You can't see thumbs up from here?
I do not. Somebody will have to say how many thumbs up it is.
All right, somebody tell us how many thumbs up we're getting. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, make sure you hit it.
Yes.
So that helps out the stream as well.
Stephen Grisham, the green tape is so that when Roy takes his tools to demonstrations and stuff like that, he can easily gather them up and take them back home instead of leaving them to live at the club or wherever he's at.
Yep.
So that is green tape.
So I'm bringing this up to almost a welding heat. Because it's such a small piece, I'm afraid of it overscaling or over-oxygenating. So I'm trying to keep this fire as oxygen neutral as I can. This next heat, which we're almost to now, Jess, is going to be at the edge of the anvil. So we're going to come right about boop, wherever that hammer face is there.
Alrighty. Thank you for the heads up.
Alright. It's definitely up to a nice temp. And we're about ready for that weld. Are you focused in there?
I believe so.
It's all in focus?
Yep.
Okay, good to go. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to just start upsetting this. Now when I weld this in this direction, you have to remember you're in a shear plane. So those welding surfaces that we just welded are going this way, okay? We got to be real careful with them going in that direction, all right? Because if you do that too much, before you do too much manipulation in that direction, you can end up shearing off that weld if it's at a welding heat. So be very careful with that. So where I'm going to come out, and it's just going to be some real light, quick blows. And here we go. I'm just peening and heading that over. As you can see, I'm not moving very fast. I'm bringing out the wee baby hammers. Okay.
Time to brush it.
Give it a quick brush. Just get some of that extra junk off of it. Okay. Now I'll put on a little more flux. Now an alternative, if you're not comfortable with forge welding something this small, you can always braze this end. So put it in the fire, throw a little bit of flux on it, and then just brass it until the braze runs into the joint, and then just file this to shape. That's another alternative as well. So we're going to come out with another heat on this, and we'll continue to upset that piece.
run, but he says, gotta go, guys. Friday night plans with the wife.
Hey, Tim, enjoy.
God bless.
Thank you, Tim, for being here in the live stream. I will catch you Sunday, sir. And anybody who's watching this stream, Tim has a really good live stream on Sunday mornings. Well, it's morning his time. It's like afternoon our time. Well, not afternoon. It's late morning our time.
Mm-hmm.
So just go to Tim Big Dog Forge's channel and check out when his last live stream was published. It'll be at that same time.
Yeah.
In your local area.
Yep. The Nugget Shooter says, this is great to watch as it happens. Great work.
What does that say?
The Nugget Shooter.
What did he say?
He says, this is great to watch as it happens. Great work.
Awesome. Glad you liked it. Glad you like it. So I'm going to take a few more little welding heats on that end. I'm going to push that end all the way back, upset it all the way back into itself, and then we will start forming the ball on the end. Then we'll actually start getting into kind of the forging area. So you just want to coax this a little at a time.
Oh, by the way.
What's up?
Yes, I was just going to remind, we are adding a few new moderators tonight. So if you see the happy little wrench, blue wrench pop up next to your name, it's because you've been selected. And we know we've seen you around quite a bit, and that way we just make sure we have plenty to go around.
And we trust you with the band hammer.
Yes.
As we call it on this channel, affectionately. Alright, I'm going to bring this out and we'll weld this right at the edge again.
Alright.
What's everybody saying? You said?
Champ Ironworks, he gave us a $50 super chat.
Hey, Champ Ironworks, thank you, brother. Thank you very much for that.
He said, found it on the phone, $, not on iPad or desktop.
Really?
So, apparently it's only available on some versions.
Yeah, apparently it's only available on some versions. Probably depending on where you're at and stuff.
Thank you, we really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. So, everybody give Champ a round of applause. Oh, while we set up this shot. Right here. We good?
Yes, we're good.
Alright, I'm at heat. I've got to bring it out and go.
Okay.
You good?
Yep, we're good.
Got it focused?
Yep, it's in focus.
Alright, out we come.
That's a lot like the bigger piece you had done for the one that looked like a marshmallow.
Yep, it's exactly like the same thing. Alright, now we got that mostly down to it. Throw just a fuzz bit more flux there. Just right on the end to close out that gap. We'll just do a little forge welding right here at the swedge. Also, something I'd like everybody to know. You don't need to kill this with flux. Pouring and pouring and pouring flux over this is not going to help you get a weld. The flux does not make the weld, it's the molten surfaces of the material joining as one. The flux eats the scale, and through capillary action, it's pulled through the joint, carrying the scale out away from the joint, and runs out on the surface, and usually drips off into the bottom of your fire pot. That's also why they say don't heavily flux right inside the fire, because all it does is continue to drag that scale off and plug up your fire grate with scale and flux.
Yeah, my analogy for it is instead of like covering a cupcake with icing where it's completely covered and you can't see the cupcake any longer, it's like adding the sprinkles.
Yep,
you know,
pretty much. Just a sprinkle.
Yep.
Tiny touch. Alright, any questions or anything? So, did Champ Ironworks have any questions that he had for his $50 super chat?
I don't see anything yet. He had just mentioned earlier he was couldn't figure out where it was at. So
okay.
Finally able to locate it.
Well, Champ, we are certainly glad you found the button, my friend. So, thank you so much for that again. And everybody who donated the $10 we appreciate those.
The Nugget Shooter says, got the Hardy Hammer plans today and have started gathering parts. Great tool for one with weak hands.
Awesome. Let me know as your progress progresses if you need any help on it. We are behind on emails. You can back off there, honey. We're good for right now. We are behind on emails currently, but if you got a technical question, I will do my best to try to get back with you within a week or so. We're just kind of delayed right now with that. We're trying to catch up. We're trying to catch up with everybody from a long time back and moving forward and trying to make sure we get everyone. That way no one feels like we took their money and run, that kind of thing. That's not something we're into.
Yeah, it just takes us a little while.
We will eventually get back to you. And if we don't get back to you at all, it may have not went through, or you might have been sitting in a spam folder. So if you had a question, you need to get back through Gmail with us again. Make sure you send that on through.
Yeah, or alternatively, you can also drop us a message through the contact us part on our website, blacksmithpdfs.com. The link's down in the description as well. Pastor Josh Smith, he says, Roy, what blower do you use?
The blower that I'm using, it's a Champion 400 blower. That's what I'm using. So a hand crank blower. It's a really nice blower. If you want to use a good blower for a forge blower, like that's an electric, I can really recommend the Dayton Blower Company. If you look them up, they sell a lot of different options you can get, and some of them are even damperable. To begin with, they make a really good blower. So now I'm going to go to the swedge block and I'm going to round this up a little bit.
All right.
Back in the welding plane instead of the shear plane.
While I'm getting the camera adjusted, XXX Rattler asks if you have any plans, power hammer plans that do not require a welder.
Currently I do not. They all require some sort of element of welding. It's very hard to find anything that's all wooden power or driven. Beam hammer's the closest thing with a lot of it still has a lot of fabricated parts. Even my Da Vinci cam hammer or the revisited Da Vinci cam hammer type thing, if you look at both those, they have a lot of wood on them, but they still use some welded elements. You might be able to find a welding shop to do something for you fairly cheap when it comes to the welding side of things. Or just pick up a cheap Harbor Freight welder if their labor is going to cost too much. Alright, we on the swedge block there and in focus?
We are.
Okay. Bring up the heat.
Jeff Stanley had also pointed out that flux eats up fire bricks.
Yes, flux does. You overflux things. Alright, got this up to good heat again. And we're just going to go ahead and weld it right there in the swedge again. One more time with that. I know, anticlimactic, huh? You're expecting to see sparks fly and
there was a few.
All that good stuff.
Not a ton.
You can now all round it up there and dress that all down. Good to go.
Let's see, Rock Mike had asked if flux will eat refractory cement.
Eventually, yes. Flux just about eats everything. Flux is 20 mule team borax. It's boric acid. So it is bound to eat just about anything you throw at it if it is in a sustained environment that is hot for long periods of time. AKA a forge.
Yeah.
That you're using all the time. The best things that I have seen or I've heard about are people putting in sacrificial floors. John Switzer posted a video where he had talked about the interior linings of forges or welding in the gas forge. John Switzer.
Yeah.
Sorry, I might have said Tim Switzer. John Switzer at Black Bear Forge. Again, if you go and watch his video on welding and gas forges, I think he made mention of someone who he saw put coke, like a layer of coke, like metallurgical grade coke, in the bottom of their forge to prevent that forge decay, the lining on the bottom. Usually some sacrificial bricks. That's about the best you can do for that. You have to remember, it's not forever. Everything in blacksmithing and forging, it's not forever. Tools are meant to be used. Consumables are meant to be consumed, and then you make more tools and you buy more consumables in this business. So it's not like, you know, you buy one gas forge and then you don't ever have to buy another one for the next 20 years and you never have to worry about the lining. That's just not how that works. So, all right, questions, comments?
Ben Culp, we appreciate the $10 super chat.
Ben Culp, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Did you have a question?
No,
just supporting the channel. Everybody give Ben Culp a good clap in the comment section. If you don't know how to do that, it's the little clapping emoji or a hand emoji. High five.
Big Mickey says, Roy, do you know if SOFA is going to host a Build-A-Forge class?
Yes, Big Mickey. I'm sorry, so sorry for not getting back to your question. I did just find out last club meeting that they are. They have not announced the date yet. The estimated cost for the forge class, this isn't one of my burners or one of my forges. It's SOFA's like kind of gas forge that they build, and it is going to be, I think they said the cost of $325, somewhere in the neighborhood there and up, depending on what they can get the materials. There is a minimum class size of, I want to say 16 they said they had to have in order to make it run. So that's what I know about that. You can keep checking SOFA's website, sofablacksmiths.org, as I'm sure you probably already have, Mickey. But again, anybody else who's interested in that, go check that out at sofablacksmiths.org. Once again, hashtag not sponsored. Not sponsoring this video. It's the patrons. The patrons, I call them patrons, but it's the super chats and the people who share the love on the channel every day. They're the ones that are sponsoring this channel.
That's right. Let's see. Troy T says, hello everyone, just checking in. Prom night for my daughter, so committing high evening to that. Hope everyone learned something.
Troy T, make sure to watch it on the replay. Nothing wrong with being there for your daughter. That's way more important than blacksmithing ever could be.
Let's see.
Thank you for stopping in.
Jim Bob the Impaler says, did you make that little wooden beater there, Mr. Adams, to your left on the floor? Watch the cord there.
Just the little wooden beater. Yes, I did.
That looks like something that belongs at a carnival.
Yeah, so I had a really large basin that I needed to work on. My brother was nice enough to come give me a hand to do the shaping. It was 18 inches, wasn't it? Yeah, it was an 18-inch baptismal basin. And so we used this and a wooden stump to form the basin, for the most part. Do the main forging on it anyhow. Copper. I don't know if I said copper basin, but all right, we're to heat, honey. We need to be down at the anvil.
Down we go.
Yep. So now I may end up at some point, depending, since I'm doing a lot of talking here and jawling and stuff. This is a great exercise. I may just make another piece for the actual vise because we're losing quite a bit to scale, mass-wise, to scaling. So I've tried to reduce that, but with the talking and in between heats, it takes a little while. It takes longer to talk and explain and instruct it than it does to actually make the actual item. So, all right, we're going to come right to the edge again. We're going to make sure we weld in that little end. Should be up really nice to heat. Hammer in hand. Out we come with it. Again, just making more welds that way. And that'll get further refined here in a moment. Alright, so that's fully welded in there. I don't know if that's still in shot. Probably not, huh?
Yes, it is still in shot. Yep.
Okay. Alright, so now that's pretty much welded in. It'll take some cleanup work. You could leave it like this. It looks kind of like a gumdrop. There are designs where the barbells are like gumdrop designs. There's all sorts of designs for the actual barbell end of it. You know, you can make your own choice on that deductively, reason out what you want, but that little bit is all welded in.
Gumdrop.
Yep. So now we're going to go ahead and start shaping this piece. We're going to have to bring it up to the same amount of welding heat for this, but the difference is we need to take and come over here and drop our tong angle, if you will, or the material parent bar stock angle, and we have got to forge in this direction. And we got to turn it 90 degrees and forge in this direction. And what that's going to do is on the underside, that's going to start pushing those lips forward, and it's not going to have a flat across there then. It won't have a flat. We're going to start rounding this out, so to speak. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to come in here, hit here, turn it 90 degrees roughly, hit there, turn it back 90, hit there, turn it back 90, hit there. And so this is where good accurate forging comes in play. But as you can tell, this is kind of a pain in the butt angle to be at. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get rid of the swedge block, put that back over here, and I'm going to use this right here. This is a planishing stake, or just any sort of anvil stake. Remember, I'm going to do a video on this one, so you've seen it here first.
It pre-existed.
It pre-existed. So I'll tell you why I'm making that joke here in a second. But anyways, so that'll go in the hardy hole, and this will allow me to not have to stand so low. I hate crouching over. I hate crouching over. It hurts my back. So now it'll bring it up taller so I can be up here. I don't know if they can see that just fine.
Yes, it's up.
And so now I can work this and get a lot steeper angle on it as well. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good? Questions?
Yes. Carolina Chris Outdoors says, does anybody know what kind of fan that he uses for exhaust?
The fan I use for exhaust?
Oh, our battery's getting really low. I think we're getting a red flashing battery, Roy.
Oh, we're getting a red flashing battery.
I think we may have to cut it short. Not
okay.
White.
Hold on, everyone. So that's the problem with the camera?
Yeah.
All right, you want to see if you can turn on your talking head there for a second? I'll try to change the battery midstream, see if that works.
Yes.
Just keep the stream running.
Okay.
So hopefully y'all can look at Jessica there for a second. Got it?
No, not yet.
All right. Okay, well, if the stream goes down, it's because the battery on the camera died. That's something we hope to rectify by next live stream. We're back. See if that goes back. Give it 20 seconds. Hold on, anybody, if you're still watching the stream.
You're still out there?
If you're still out there.
Here. It says it's still live. It's just
we're still live.
It's a black screen, so we'll give it a second.
Hopefully everybody, hold on. We're getting it fixed here with a battery.
Alright, we're gonna see. It's still black. It's still loading it.
It's still black. Is it still loading it?
Yep.
Okay, let's hope on. Everybody hang on if you can. My voice is picking up, hopefully.
There we go, yep.
Alright, are we back?
We are back.
Are we back, everybody? If we are, go ahead and give us a big thumbs up. Please excuse us for the battery change. So, I don't know if you guys can see that, but we had to put the battery on charge.
He said, nobody move, I just dropped my phone. Now we're back, yeah.
Now we're back. Okay, good. Good. Oh, thank you for sticking with us through our technical difficulties. Like I said, we plan on having that rectified by next week's live stream or the one after. The problem with filming with cameras, our camera batteries only last so long for recording. You get about an hour to hour and a half of usage out of a camera battery.
Yes, which we're at an hour and 5 minutes. So
yeah, so we're at an hour and 5 minutes plus the setup time, and we had it running for about 30 minutes. It's about right. Yep. So we have about an hour and a half per battery that we can do, and as everybody knows, I like to be long-winded.
Mark asked flatline there for a minute. We're living again.
We're living again, fellas. Our audience retention graphs are going to be amazing on this video. And it's going to be like, dude.
They're going to be like, it's really alive.
And comes back, yep.
Yeah.
Definitely flatline. All right, well, thank you all for sticking with us. Yeah. All right, so I'm bringing this up to a nice, good forging heat. You want to keep this welded joint up to a nice high forging heat if you can. We'll get it back up to heat. Any questions?
Yes, GameForge Gaming, what pound hammer do you use the most?
1 3/4 pounds. If I need to drive a drift or something like that, the heaviest I use is a 3-pounder. I do have an 8-pound cross down here, but it kills me to use it anymore. I just can't use it, so I'll eventually probably throw this on a much longer handle and just keep it around as a striking hammer for someone, but I just can't use that one-handed, and I don't suggest anybody else do big hammers like that one-handed. Otherwise you'll end up with similar problems that I have.
Yep.
So 1 3/4 pound is what I like to use the most.
Jim Bob the Impaler says, anyone got a problem with the battery issue gets the wooden beater. LOL. That's funny.
In the nicest way possible, because this is a family channel.
It is. Oh, yes, that cut out right when you were about to answer the question about, let's see, Carolina Chris Outdoors had asked about, I'm drawing a blank now. I'm trying to go back and scroll what you asked. Carolina
Chris asked the question again and we'll try to answer it. So,
okay.
I'm going to take this heat now right at the stake, please. Okay. Let's move it to the plane so you can stay. Alright, good and hot. Are you right there?
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
there.
about right here.
Okay.
Is that in shot?
It is now.
Okay. Here we go. Come out and give it some heat. And now remember, we're going to turn this just 90 degrees to forge it to kind of a cube first. Cube-ish. Got to straighten that up a little bit. Okay.
Changing position. You changed out the batteries so fast.
That was quick.
Would have been even quicker if I had it sitting out already.
Yeah, I think for this one I'm going to just do a round ball.
Are you?
I like the looks of that already, yeah. I'm going to do the round ball. I like the thought of that.
Rapid design change.
Well, it's not necessarily rapid. I had it on my mind to do. And it's at a non-critical point of no return, so I can choose whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. We're starting to hammer those facets. We're going to turn this into a round ball now on the end. Now, the best thing you can do for yourself is if you have a round swedge, like a round ball swedge that you can have, that really helps out when you get to this point. But we're going to freehand this. What else we got?
Let's see. Yes, her question had been about the exhaust fan, if you use one.
Okay, I do not have an exhaust fan. I have an exhaust hood, and it is a natural draft exhaust hood. And it's a side draft. My preferred method, I've talked about this a little bit in a live stream before, I would have an over the forge hood, and I would have an exhaust fan that would force the air out that way. It would be a mechanical exhaust, not a naturally aspirated exhaust. So, or drafted, natural drafted exhaust. Would work better.
The pickle hammer forge, where did the apron come from?
The short apron or the big apron?
Yeah, I'd say
the
big
apron,
only barely in shot.
Okay, the big apron that I wear in some of my videos, that came from Chip Brown at browncowart.com.
Browncowart.com.
Browncowart.com. Let's, whoo, man, my mouth is being full with words today. So, you can go check him out. He does Renaissance fairs here in the state of Ohio. Great guy for his leatherwork, for sure. You definitely want to go check him out for his leatherwork if you're looking for something custom. This little lap apron, this was a cheap apron that was online somewhere. I don't even remember where we bought it from, but the top kind of wore out on it, and I decided I didn't like it, so I just cut it off to make it a waist apron or a lap apron.
Yeah.
I like that a lot better than a full apron. Sometimes I like the full apron if I got like a big heavy piece of metal that I am working on. I like the full apron. Oh, all right, we go back here and you can continue to talk.
All right, John Tompkins, do you know if classes are being offered at Quad State, and might it be a good idea?
There are not classes per se. There is a U-Forge area where they will do like a beginner workshop. It's kind of like a little beginner class type deal at SOFA. There are some classes right now that are going on at SOFA. You'll have to go to sofablacksmith.org to go check that out. Are we right here, honey?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, you have to go check it out there. I recommend classes all the time if you can. If you can get away to take them. I know some people can't do that always, but if you can, it's a nice way of not only supporting a club, but getting yourself some knowledge that you otherwise might have not got on your own.
Let's see, both JJ Clark, 45, and Graham says the staticky noise is gone, so apparently we have improved audio now.
Apparently it was that battery.
Yeah, I guess. Either that or something was slightly loose on our connections.
Might have been something slightly loose on the connection points. So, all right, let me get this brushed up so everybody can see what I got here so far. So just like you would turn a square or a square taper into a round. Can they see this here?
Yes.
Nice and close like?
Yep. I think I can maybe get a hair closer.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Just like you would turn a square into a round, a square cross section into a round, we're doing the same. Here I had to hammer it down square to push that cylindrical shape out of it. And now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take off the corners. Just like you would take off the square corners of a square bar if you were wanting to make it round, right? It's the same principle here, you just have more of them to knock off, if that makes any sense.
Several more, yeah.
Yeah, so you got quite a few more of them to actually knock off. But that's the process of turning this into a nice little round bar. And at this point, if this piece wasn't welded, it would have been a guaranteed fail. This thing would have came off by now. But it's definitely welded. That's one solid bit now. And so far, so good. I'm surprised. We haven't really lost that much material mass. But you can see just, I can see it, but this here is just a hair thinner than what this piece is here. And let me actually grab a pair of calipers real quick, veneer calipers. I think is what they're called. I just call them like little slide calipers.
Yeah, those are called.
We started with 1/4 inch or 6 mil. I don't know if anybody can see that at all on there. Probably not, huh? That small.
No, not that small.
Okay, so we started at 1/4 inch or 6 mil. Oh yeah, we've lost a 32nd A 32nd of an inch. Sorry, people in millimeter, I don't know what that is. That's
a pinch.
It's a pinch, whatever that is. In mil. Is that a centimeter?
I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody comment what a 32nd of an inch is of material in metric, if you know. But yeah, so we've definitely reduced this cross section just by scale eating away here. So that's something to keep in mind when you're forging on these. All right, you can back up. Good to go.
Alrighty.
That's the importance of striking while the iron's hot, getting it and getting the work done. You can take as many heats as you need. You may need to start with just slightly larger stock to make up for, or you may want to upset the material for the loss or the reduction that you're going to get through scaling. Especially if it's critical that it be at a certain size after it's all said and done. What's up?
I was just
Questions?
looking for a comment. Yes. Goodness, I lost it.
Okay, well, move on. They can comment again.
Okay. Let's see. Mike G, does anybody know of a place to get my vintage coal in eastern North Carolina? So if anybody knows, make sure you drop it down there in the comments.
If anybody's on the know of that, let Mike know.
I think it was Graham had said, is it worth upsetting again to make the adjustment for the amount of material lost? Measurement there?
You can on a larger piece, Graham, but something like this small 1/4 inch, all it's going to really accomplish is uneven buckling on this 1/4 inch. Unless you have some sort of fixture to hold it in, that'll control that upsetting. It's just better to start with a little thicker piece than what you need. That way you can always rasp off or file down to the size you need after it's all said and done. Or turn it on a lathe if you have a lathe or something like that to take it down to that final dimension.
Game Forge Gaming. Hope you have a good dinner. Thanks for stopping by.
Yep, thanks.
Let's see, anybody else? I know I've missed some comments this evening, so if you're still sticking around and you have a burning desire to have your question answered, drop it in there again, and you can put hashtag Jess if you need to, and I will try to get that out
How
there.
many people we have in the stream, huh?
We have 54.
54. Well, thank you to everybody who stuck around with us this long. Thank you very much. It does help out the channel, your watch time and your viewership, and your likes and comments and all that good stuff. It helps out, really does. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and roll this up a little bit.
All right.
Somewhere in there. You don't have to get super close with it, because it's just rounding it off. We'll start working kind of quick here so I can finish this up.
Alrighty.
All right, we good?
Yep. Rock Knight says the guy gave me a chunk of 500 steel. Can we forge that?
I'm assuming that's AR 500 steel. I don't know if it's forgeable or not. That would be a good experiment to find out. Now, if you guys can see what I'm doing here, hopefully you can. I'm just rolling this and rocking this, trying not to hit in the same place twice if I can help it. To try to turn this more into this ball shape.
Question earlier what that was in millimeters. Centimeters is bigger, which, yeah, I remember that. But it was 0.974 millimeters.
Okay. Thank you for the math major.
They said Google says that's what it is.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Google. So there we are. So you guys can see that's starting to round up. We're going to take one more heat. We're going to go over to the edge of the anvil. And I'm going to dress out that point a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to my swedge. And that'll allow me to round this up a little better. See? Mm-hmm. So I'll be able to round that up a little bit better and make it look a little more presentable. You may not have to worry too much about that point out the top. I want to dress that with a hammer. I like to forge as close to finish as I can. You can dress that out with the hammer, or you can just rasp it off. It's not a big deal. It's a small little thing. You know, you can round it up that way. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather try to dress it up with a hammer if all possible, because I like to challenge myself to forge as close to finish as possible.
All right.
How many people, by a show of thumbs up, both in the comment section and on the stream, like this video so far? I really, really hope the picture quality has been great and everybody's been able to really see it this time. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this because I've went back and watched some of our previous live streams. I was like, no, they couldn't see it. Right. You know, and I was trying to vehemently explain what it was that was going on. And so I really hope this has helped.
Yes. Let's see, Mike G, you said, Jessica, I used an Etsy shipping label. Was it okay to put it in blue drop box? It was very small. So talk about the USPS boxes they have where you just drop in the mail. Yes, it's okay to drop packages in those if it fits in the slot. The only thing that happens is if you drop it in there, they don't scan it in that building location. So until it gets to the next processing point, it doesn't get scanned as to its location's whereabouts.
Because that overnight drop box is actually just picked up directly from outgoing mail. So it's not even sorted through that location. So it won't show your tracking that it's shipped from that location. It'll be the next distribution department, right, Jess?
Yes, that's correct.
Where I could. Good. I probably just reinstated everything she just said. It made more sense in my mind to explain it that way.
Well, now it's nice and clear.
I'll zip it. I'll zip it.
Corey Shire says, Roy, suggestion: the pointer finger you use and make, name it Thing in honor of Thing from the Addams Family.
I'll have to do that. All right, all in favor of the pointer finger being named Thing, just say Thing. Hashtag Thing in the comment section. Put your vote.
It's like perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Brent Houston says, so are you just going to draw the rest of the barbell down to a 30 seconds once it is complete to match the ends?
Okay, say that again. Oh, in the middle. Yeah, so if there's a reduction that much on both sides, yeah, I'll just draw the rest of it down in the center. It is such a small reduction, you'll probably never notice it. Again, after I do some filing on this, chances are it's going to be a little thinner yet anyhow, and that's okay. So it's going to have a little bit of slop. It's not like it's going to fit completely tight inside the screw of the vise. So it'll have a little bit of slop in it. And that'll come from that reduction and that little bit of filing to get everything cleaned up. So I guess yes. I just won't be forging it, so to speak. Because then again, I would lose scale, then I'd still have to file it, and then it would still constantly be in reduction mode.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. John Tompkins says the video goes along, it's getting better. That's good news.
Good.
So it would have been nice for it to have been perfect to start with.
Good. It would have been great if it was perfect to start with, but we're glad it's gotten better.
It out. We'll, you know, hopefully next time we'll have things under control a little more.
Yep. It also might be your internet connection and your particular service provider. Some service providers will slow internet connections or your connectivity based upon peak times of the day. So we might be getting past the peak time of the day, and so therefore it might be getting better, less buffering or things like that. So if you are having problems with buffering, reduce the quality of the stream just a little bit. Sometimes that helps when I'm watching other people's live streams. And now we're going to the edge of the anvil. Let's go over here and I can answer questions while we go. If we need
okay. Andrew Freeman says, hey guys, I was able to test out the bottle opener that I won, and I am happy to report it works out perfectly.
Awesome to know, Andrew. Want it any other way, brother? Oh, all right, we're right about here.
Yes, we are.
And here.
Yep.
And here.
And there.
And here.
And all over.
And here. And here. We're good?
We're good?
Okay. All right. Now I'll come here. I'll dress that little tip off there. So this is where hammer accuracy and control comes into play. A lot more than just brute force and strength. And what I like to call dumb luck. This is something that if you're just starting out, you need to learn. It's not all about brute force. You know, a lot of this craft is about finesse. Actually, in fact, most of this craft is about finesse. There we go. Now I can rasp this the rest of the way. Get this good brushing. And clean that ball up the rest of the way. All right, and there it is. I don't know if everybody can see that or not.
Yeah, it's as close as I can get from
here. Okay.
Yep, it's all the way in.
There we are. I don't know if everybody can see that. Everybody like that?
Yeah, they actually did a, that is a sofa demo, was it last year? I think it was last year because I watched it for a little bit, but yeah, it was a little bit bigger of a ball. It was probably on an 1.5 inches or so stock.
Yeah, larger stock. It's kind of funny. If you go too far on the side of large stock, it becomes difficult because you need a lot of force to move the material. If you go too small on stock, it becomes really difficult because it's too finicky. So you know, there's that sweet spot that a lot of blacksmiths like to use of about 5/8 inch material down to about 3/8 inch of material, or 16 mil down to 9 mil material. That's kind of the sweet spot you'll find a lot of blacksmith projects are. And the reason for that being is because at 5/8 it's not too much mass where it's hard to move by hand by yourself, and it's, you know, but it's got enough mass for things like tongs and a lot of different tooling and things of that nature. Whenever you get down, and I said this in a previous live stream, if you really want to test your forge welding capabilities, try doing small stuff. You can tell a really good smith, and this isn't a brag on myself because I am not even close to the people that I am referring to here, but you can tell a really good smith, like a master smith, by the quality of his forge welds and his ability to not have to bring it out at sparking, you know, heat, and be able to still get a weld, and how smooth they are at setting up their process. You can tell they're very acute, and they're somebody to pay attention to when it comes to forge welding. Watch how they forge. Watch how adept they are at setting up the individual processes. If they're good at that, and it doesn't look like they're always fumbling for a tool or trying to find something in the shop, and they're able to make those welds at lower temperatures, you can tell that they're fairly adept at forge welding, and that's a guy to ask all your questions to. So, you know, this is easy to do once, but it's going to get indefinitely harder come the next live stream. So the next live stream that I do on this vise, we will have to put the barbell through the piece and forge weld the other side. And that's where it's going to get tricky. And so we'll see how good I am then, and hopefully it doesn't go horribly wrong. So this piece will be drilled for 1/4 inch round, and then this will be driven through roughly. It'll be a smidge under. I'll probably just do a smidge under a 1/4 inch round or a 1/4 inch hole, just so I can drive this through, and it'll be a little tighter for the material reduction. And like I said, we'll get into the rest of the specifics of that on another live stream. But this will be the real trick of getting this forge welded together, so that bar is trapped and won't fall out. That'll be the real trick. But next week's live stream is going to be a very special surprise. It'll be an interesting surprise live stream. We don't know what we'll be forging just yet.
Be surprised.
Well, we know, but we're not telling you until next live stream.
Right. We're gonna be sneaky like that.
Yeah, we're gonna be sneaky. Just this once.
Sneaky.
So there we go. All of our components are coming along. All of our pieces. This thing's slowly starting to shape up, and eventually somebody's going to tune back in saying, okay, this is getting boring, and it'll be done.
Yeah, they'll be like,
they'll tune back in a month or so from now and be like, what in the world happened? What'd I miss? And so those are all the components coming along. We've only got one forged component left to do that we need to actually forge, and that is the cheek pieces. So, well, 2 forged components, excuse me. We have the spring that we have to make, and that'll be very special. I've got some things I want to do on that. And then the cheek pieces that hold this thing from going awry. And those are placed to the left and to the right of the piece. They create the hinge, if that makes sense. So there it is. A lot of work to this point. But it's going to be well worth it.
Got milk. 1061 says, I got faith in you, Roy.
I'm glad you have faith in me, sir. Or, I think, sir. Thank you, whoever you are. Ma'am, sir. I think it's a sir. Person. We thank you.
Sorry. We can't remember everybody's names.
Yeah.
Usernames that are a little more recognizable. Brent, I like surprises. Corey Shire. Oh, the suspense.
Good, good.
You just got a whole nother 7 days to wait.
Yeah, you just have a whole nother 7 days to wait.
It's gonna be like all week.
All right, we can go
about it.
Trim it up here.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Let's see, Brian
Right,
Neely, you're being mean. Mean.
Yeah, mean. I guess you'll just have to join us. So that's going to be it for this live stream. Thank you absolutely from the bottom of our heart to each and every one of you that donated in the live stream tonight. Thank you for everybody who's been supporting us buying power hammer plans and things of that nature, and all of your constant encouragement in the comment section on all of our videos every single day of every single week. We really do greatly appreciate every last one of our subscribers out there. If you are new and this is your first live stream with us and you think it's neat, make sure to try to think about hitting that subscribe button, the jingly bell if this is something you're into. Make sure you check around the rest of the channel. Make sure my content's what will fit you the best. We upload twice a day. 7 days a week. So that's our posting schedule. And we do 1 blacksmithing video a day. And then right now we do 1 3 minutes at 3. And well, it's 3-ish minutes at 3. So we try to keep it to 3 minutes. And that's our daily business talk about those who are trying to grow it for their business or inspirational content, things like that. But any other questions before we go?
Let's see, JG Clark 45, I hope Jessica takes over the live stream next Friday.
She's better to look at. I will give you that, JG.
We won't answer that. That way it's still part of the surprise.
Yeah, it's still part of the surprise.
It is. Let's see, John McCann, thanks for having us. Ben Toombs, thanks for what you guys do.
Yep, thank you all so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. So, yeah, so that's going to conclude this live stream, I think.
Yeah.
Unless anybody has any burning questions.
All right. I think everybody's wrapping down. They're saying have a good night, good weekend.
Good.
Catch you later.
So, thank you all for watching. Make sure you check out some of the other videos if this is your first time to the channel. We've got a lot of them. We're approaching 700 videos of content on YouTube. So, all out there to take and try to help our fellow blacksmiths and the blacksmithing community
and craftsmen in general.
And craftsmen in general.